Okay. So welcome to Sunday night chat, and just start off with saying below the video there are links to various things. You can go there for private sessions if you want to do that. There's a link to my book. There's a link to donate, and I always appreciate donations, and thank you to those who have donated. It really helps me a lot, so thank you for that. There's also my Facebook page, and oh, it hasn't got my events on it. I'll do that later. Yeah, you can go onto my website. My events are there as well. Yeah, so I'm really tired today, so I don't know if I'm going to give much of an introduction. So we can get on with the questions quickly, if you like. I've been painting all day in 38 degrees heat. So that was a challenge. But it's not going to get any cooler now. So yeah. Okay, so why do we come to these talks? 2 reasons. 3 reasons. We love it. We love it. There's just an interest, or just an interest in it, or there is looking for what is being spoken. What looks for the answer is, it feels like it's a separate person. It feels real that I am separate, and it has felt real for a long time, probably as long as you can remember. That sense of self, that sense of separate person, is an appearance, it's a kind of a program running in a way. And like I was talking with someone on Skype the other day, and we were talking about it like being a computer program. It's like a bit of software that's happening, that's running, and it's on automatic. And it just believes itself to be separate. So it looks in the world, it looks in things, it looks in teachings, and it thinks that it will understand what's being said. Hi Tangerine, hi Wa. And it thinks that it will understand what's being said. But that one, the self, the thing that calls itself me, but which is not actually who you are at all, gets dismantled by this message. Slowly the pillars get pulled down until eventually seeking is given up. And then there's a sense of waiting that happens, waiting for something to happen. But the irony is that nothing happens. There's just a seeming change. But that change is like any other appearance. It just changes, and it seemed that it never really was me. It never was me. There was never a me in that sense. There's just this life happening. The sense of a life that's being lived by the body, brain, mind, called Lisa, or whoever's listening. Hi, Joe. Stop complaining. No, I'm not complaining. I do like it, but it was hot on that ladder with the roller. So what's being looked for is what already is happening. It thinks it's something else that's going to happen. It's going to happen to me. Or it thinks, well, it's not going to happen to me, but it's going to happen. It has all these very subtle ideas about the end of me, the end of feeling separate. Hi, Curtis. But it's not like that. Hi, Sonny. Nice to see everyone. Hi, Ramona. Oh, thanks. But it's not like that. It's not the end of anything or the beginning of anything. It's just really clear that that construct was never who I was, and there is no I who ever was. It's just what's happening. I was talking to a very nice lady the other day, and we're talking about what it's like in the day. And it's very possible that someone could ask me how my day was, or how my day was. And it's also, if I was going to talk honestly, I could say, well, there was just the room. There was just the paint. There was just the roller. There was no me in the paint. There was just painting. Hi, Kim. Like now, there's just this, there's just talking happening. There's nobody speaking, because this one that thinks there's somebody speaking, there's nobody speaking. The idea that I'm speaking is just overlaid over the actual speaking. Like watching this video or listening to this video, there isn't anyone listening to the video. The I am listening is overlaid on top of watching video. Really, what's happening is just watching video with me as a filter, that I am watching the video. Hi, Kurt from Stockholm. So in the end, all there is what's happening, and there can't be anything else. You can have a good go at finding it, but what will happen is it'll just be always finding happening or looking happening. And that can go on for ages, especially if there's practice. Practice to what? Practice to sitting in the chair. I'm going to practice sitting in the chair. I'm going to be aware that I'm sitting in the chair. It's totally superfluous, because sitting in the chair is already happening. Practice is just another overlay of the me. If practice is used therapeutically to make the me feel better, then that's therapy, and there's nothing wrong with therapy. I don't think that this is about not doing therapy. But if you're searching for this by being aware of your breath or sitting in the chair, then it's like, well, that's just what's happening, but it's not getting you any closer, and you will never get closer to this, because it already is the case. It's already everything. Hi, Sunny. Can you talk about the mind ego interpreting this info incorrectly to its advantage? Yeah. Hi, Ella. Well, it can build up concepts about what's being spoken about for itself. I'm trying to think what those concepts would be. That it knows what's been spoken of, and it can argue with other people about what non-duality is, which is kind of ridiculous. I love watching those Facebook arguments about non-duality. So it can use it for its advantage in that way, that it knows something. What else? It can also use it as a way of not caring anymore. Then if there isn't anything and there's no me, then it doesn't matter what I do. But it's still another me story. That can happen. Or there isn't anyone, so I'm going to be an arsehole. I used to, I don't get it anymore, because I disabled all my comments, and I only get horrible comments if they're public. because people like to put horrible comments publicly. And people would say, well, there's no you there, so you shouldn't be offended. Well, offended is not being done by anybody. Offending is just happening. Being offended is just happening. Being hurt by someone being cruel is just happening. So people who kind of get hold of the idea of non-duality as a concept, that can happen, which is unfortunate. Well, it can claim this, Chase states. Yes, yes, it can claim that I know that there is just this. I know there's just this. But you can't know that, because knowing is just this as well. It's impossible to single anything out, because as the words imply, non-duality, there is only what is, and nothing in it is separate. It's all appearing all at once. Yeah, and it can claim states, but there are no states. States happen, but there isn't anything that is a permanent state. There is no permanent state of oneness for anybody or wholeness for anybody. All those things go out of the window. That whole palaver just completely drops. States, bliss. I mean, yeah, states arise. Suddenly there can be utter nothing, I don't know, kind of a state, but then the next minute there's cooking some vegetables. Because nothing is happening to anyone. It's just so instantaneous. It's too immediate. Eckhart Tolle used to say, stop complaining. Oh, did he? Well, I guess stop complaining is, I don't know. Hi, Sebastian. Sunny, what do you think of the guru, disciple, teacher, student, and all the spiritual practices? Do they have any value? They don't have any value in regard to being free of the sense of separation, because what is happening there is the whole happening as student and disciple, but it has no value when it comes to getting anything or getting anywhere. I've been in that situation of guru disciple, and I tell you, when that sense of self drops, you get ousted. No longer the sister of the Sangha. You are ousted, because you are no longer in that lower position looking upwards to the guru. But all that guru stuff just totally drops away, and it has no value when it comes to this. I mean, it might have value to the me. I don't know. But in regards to what's been spoken of here, no, it has no value at all. Because there isn't anything moving. There's nothing moving towards anything. There's no next moment. Nobody's ever found the next moment. There's just the change of appearances that makes it seem like it's a next moment, but you cannot find it. You cannot find a next moment. Tangerine. Would you say something about compulsive energies in the body and how to overcome them? I just can't speak about, I just don't know. I don't know. Because that's therapy, and I don't know anything about therapy. That's changing the appearance for the me, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with overcoming compulsive energies. But I just can't speak on that, I'm sorry. Because this has nothing to do with changing the appearance. what's been spoken of. But there are lots of speakers who do speak about that. I'm just kind of not very good at it. Because here, as friend to friend, we might discuss it, but here it's just no. Sebastian, sorry if I repeat myself, but I would like to ask this. You can't get any closer to this, but obstacles that obscure this as complete can be reduced, don't they? No. No, because that's just an appearance, reducing obstacles. There's no obstacles to this. The obstacle is this. It is this, appearing as an obstacle. It is this appearing as trying to overcome it. This is so ridiculously wonderful. It's totally beyond all the movement of time. It's literally just this, no matter what it appears as. Obstacles, getting over things. It's utter, this appearance is utter freedom. It's utter freedom, appearing out of just nothing. Just wild. Carry on regardless, says Joe. Drink tea and carry on. Sunny, so cutting out the noise can give exact instructions on how to drop this mental construct. So cutting out the noise. No, because this is still me movement. There's nothing wrong with cutting out the noise. I always have to make this clear. I don't say there's anything wrong with making the appearance better. Not at all. But nothing can get closer. What's totally overlooked by the self, and it can't do anything else but overlook it. It can't do anything else. It's a program running. It's absolutely automatic. It never can see that this is the wonder, appearing as all those things, as mental noise, as all that stuff. Kurt, the sense of self cannot hear this. It's hoping to get something to understand, and get an edge on this can collapse into itself, which has been called freedom. Yes. It's always trying to understand it. But what seems to happen is that something is heard. It's heard, and it's not heard by anyone. It's just hearing appearing. But it can, somehow the penny can drop. The penny can drop. And it's just like a light bulb going on. And then in comes the me. What was that? What was that? How can I claim it? How can I get hold of that? Because when the penny drops, it's a complete lack of knowledge, a complete lack of knowing or understanding or getting anything. It's just, oh yeah, of course. And then in comes the self, because the self is a very strong motor. It's a very strong motor. It isn't undermined easily. It can't be undermined. It's just, what can happen is it can be heard. Penny drops, light bulb goes on, and then in comes the me. And then listening again can happen, and then it happens again and again and again. And that whole sense of self is undermined by the message of non-duality. That's what seems to happen. But nothing can be done about it. There's no practices that can be done. There's no obstacles that can be overcome. It's just the light bulb going on, but it's not happening for me. It's just another appearance. Sebastian, with obstacles, this is not realized as being complete, although it already is. So obstacles have to fall for realization, isn't it? No. What obstacles? Conditioning? Conditioning is irrelevant. It's always the self that thinks there are obstacles to be overcome. It's a total story, it's a total fantasy that I have to overcome obstacles. I have to overcome them. That is just a story. And when that's not there, those energies might still arise, and a lot of the neurotic tendencies just drop away, but there might still be conditioning arising. In your case, did it happen gradually or in an instant? Says Sunny. And there was a lot of that, what I was just saying about the light bulb going on and off, on and off. And then it just stopped. It just stayed on. Well, it didn't even stay on. It just the whole play just fell away. The whole construct of me just wasn't there anymore. And then it was seen that it wasn't really anything. It's amazing, you know, when that sense of me drops away, you do wonder what the hell it was all about. All that seeking and striving and wanting and trying and suffering and pain and anguish and feeling of separation, not feeling good enough, all these feelings just drop away. Hi, Claudia. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for the Skype session. Oh, it was great. I'm finding it still difficult to regards to understand when to intervene with animal suffering, when to let it go as what is just happening. Yeah, because that's the me story, you see, trying to figure a way out. It's trying to figure a way out of what to do about the animal suffering. It just, that's what it does. And it will just be there until it's not. Sebastian, the obstacle like the conviction that I am body, mind, or this is not complete. Yeah, well, you can't overcome the sense of I am body, mind, and I'm not complete. Cannot overcome that programming. It's programmed one way, and that is that it is an obstacle in itself. But it cannot do anything about itself. Joe, don't complain about the obstacles. Well, that can't be helped because they seem like mountains. They just seem like mountains, and I understand that. It seems like this is never going to happen to me. Well, no, it's not going to happen to you. It'll be the end of you. But you'll wonder what the hell it was all about. Because it wasn't really about anything. There was nothing going anywhere. There was never a goal. There's no end. There's just the seeming death of the body. That's probably going to happen. Claudia, attempts to improve animal circumstances have not worked. Hard to let go. Yeah, I know how it plays in the brain. Yeah. And you never know, even without the sense of me, there might still be that anxiousness for animals. It might just be the way you're wired, you know, to have such compassion. It's compassion. It might not be as negative as you think. Hi, Thomas. I feel it's the progressive end of the resistance of what it ever is. Is that right? Read that again. I feel it's the progressive end of the resistance of whatever is. It seems progressive, but it's like it's suddenly obvious that there is no progress. I understand what you mean. And would you say that it is like when we were children in terms of the experience, let's say, that flavor? Yes. Yes, it is. Because it's just, well, remember when you were a child and you were playing. I used to love marbles when I was a kid. I was utterly obsessed with them because I grew up very alone and I only had marbles as my friends. And I used to constantly play with these marbles. I had 2 sticks and a load of marbles, and I would get very complicated with them. But I don't remember that it was me and the marbles. It was just the marbles, and I'm sure you remember that, playing as a young child. And it's just the play, it's just what's happening. And then there's eating happening. And that is horrible for the sense of self, because it's just like, well, there's nothing in it for me. There's nothing in it. It's just that, it's just the appearance. Yes, it is. It really is. And it's amazing, because it's a miracle. Sunny, and once it drops away, did there ever come back, or drops away forever? No, it just drops away forever. It's just like it's like the end of an addiction. When you know the addiction's really over, it's totally over, and there's no, it just doesn't come back. The craving or the appearance just doesn't come back. Because it wasn't really, it's like re-believing in Father Christmas. It's just impossible. It'd have to be a lot of mental jumps to re-believe in Father Christmas. It's kind of the same as that. Hi, Alexandra. Could you please comment on the statement, nothing really happens? Does it mean that since there is no one to label what is as a real happening? Yeah, in a sense. Yeah, because it's too immediate. It's too immediate. It's so intimate. Everything is so intimately, metaphorically connected, and it's just in free flow. It's in free flow, just changing color and shape and form. It's not really moving towards anything, only as a story, but it's somehow known that it is a story. It feels like there's a progression, because this is a huge story of humans, isn't there? Like, you know, the history and all that, if you believe history. The story of the life of somebody. There seems like a progression, you know, getting older and everything, but it's not happening in time. It's just flowering, but there's no end to that flower. It's a constant. I'm saying that metaphorically, of course, because I can't describe what this is or what it's like, because it just is like what it is. Tangerine, it is all a wonder. It really is. It really is. Cannot fathom where there are all these things, including thoughts and feelings and the story, and the way the story happens, and how it paradoxically seems to all link together, but you cannot find anything outside of it. So when you think about your past memories, they are just happening in this. They're not happening in the so-called past. Or when you think about the apparent future, they're not happening in the future. That future isn't coming. Paradoxically, it may work out, because that's the way it seems to happen, the way it's all connected. It's amazing. It is a wonder. Oh, you're welcome, Claudia. I'm sorry I can't help you with the animal thing. Such compassion there. Such compassion. I know, it's so awful, the way that humans treat animals. It's so awful. It's heartbreaking, really. And I understand that it can take over the life, you know, this constant worrying about the animals and the anxiety. Maybe some kind of therapy might help with that, I don't know. Or the dropping away of the me, then it doesn't matter if you're worrying 24/7. Then that's just what's happening. But I just hear such compassion coming from you. Hi, Sir Jay. Thanks for your streams. Oh, you're welcome. great. I didn't do a sunset one this week. I was so busy this week, I just totally forgot. You recommended to drop away. You recommend to drop away feelings and thoughts? You recommend? No. This void presence means sit and do nothing, since doing requires feelings and thoughts, but isn't it a practice? I don't recommend dropping away feelings and thoughts. That can happen, but it won't get the sense of me closer to the end of the sense of me. It just won't. I mean, there's no feelings and thoughts dropped here. Feelings and thoughts arise constantly. You know, watching a film, oh my God, happy, sad, frightened. Then there's thoughts happening, but they're not really, they don't, because there's no sense of, when there's no sense of self, those things don't stick to anything. There's nothing claiming them. So trying to drop them doesn't do anything at all. It's just a frustration. There's nothing wrong with feelings and thoughts, unless they're a real problem to you. But when there's no sense of self, feelings and thoughts are free to come and go as they please, like the sunset or the weather. It's irrelevant. Since void presence means sit and do nothing, this void presence means sit and do nothing. Since doing requires feelings and thought, isn't it a practice? But who would sit and do nothing? That is about practice. I don't advocate practice, because there's nothing that can get that sense of self closer to what it's looking for, which is this, which is what is happening. And that would be me sitting there and doing nothing, thinking it might get somewhere. Void presence. Well, the lack of presence is not a void. In fact, it's the opposite. Everything is screaming life, life, life. It's the opposite of a void. And yet at the same time, it's totally empty of anything, of story. Even story is empty of story. I don't advocate practice. I don't know if you heard me say that. I very much doubt I said that. Because feelings and thoughts are amazing. But they're no more amazing than anything else. Ramona, Eckhart Tolle never said don't complain. I don't read Eckhart Tolle, so I don't know. Probably not, but pointed to how the ego grows while it's complaining. Yeah, that can be an appearance, like everything else. To be, when possible, aware of that's happening. P.S. I do believe in Santa and like to complain about him. Let me be. Sorry. Carry on, carry on. Hopefully he'll come and give you presents. And there's nothing wrong with complaining. Everyone likes a good gossip and a moan. It's the human life. It's the human dance. Nothing wrong with any of it. Sebastian, wonderful to hear you. Oh, thank you, Sebastian. Seems to weaken the ego and the seeking. Yeah, it does. It does. Sometimes there's just nowhere to go with that seeking energy. It's just like, oh, it just gets lost. Cornered, lost, weakened. But I have to say at the same time, that is not a progress. That is just what's happening. That's the wonder. It's the wonder. There's no past and future, says Joe. No, just the stories of them appearing in the head. Alexandra. Excuse me, I get some water. Starting to cool down now. It's only about 30 degrees now. Alexandra, does the self consist only in a labeling, judging process about what is? It's more than that. It consists of an energetic sense of I am here and this is my body, I live in my body, and I'm looking out at these eyes. It normally tends to sit around here or goes to the emotions in the heart, solar plexus, or the gut. And it's all a sense of self. It's like a complete illusion. Well, it's not, it's apparent, it appears, but it's illusory because it's not what it thinks it is. When it's not there, it's seen exactly for what it's for, what it was. It's seen, I've forgotten the actual words I was going to say now. It's seen for what it is. That's it. It's seen for what it is. It does label, it does judge, yes. Because it's always comparing everything to itself. Judging that, and that, labeling that. That's good, that's bad. That's right, that's wrong. But to do with itself, of course, without that, there is still saying what is right and wrong, because as humans, you know, we sense what feels good and what feels bad. Do you like patterns, cycles? Yes. Yes, I enjoyed them very much. This character loves the story, but there's no attachment to it, you see. It's obvious it's a story, but there's real enjoyment in it. I love stories. I love reading novels, watching movies. I love watching the world unfold, you know, as it is. I love watching videos on YouTube about all sorts of things that are happening in the world. I see the patterns in them. I see the apparent progress in them. That's the character. And I do enjoy them very much. Did you used to meditate before? Says Sunny. I really tried. But it was always with the aim of getting something. And there was always that kind of sense of waiting. The sense of sitting there, meditating, waiting for something to happen. When's it going to happen? It's never going to happen to me. I'm not worthy. Or I think too much. I've got too much something. It's never going to happen to me. And it never did happen to me. It doesn't happen to me. So yeah, meditation is, I think meditation as for feeling calm or distressing, in the appearance, sure. But for this, no. And does having any qualities in the character help to see it? No, because what is sitting there in a room by a computer with everything happening about it is it. It's regardless of any qualities or characteristics or feelings or conditioning. It's regardless, because it is it. And it's as close, you can't get any closer to what I'm speaking about. You can't get any closer. You can't get away from it. You can't get closer and you can't get away from it. So qualities in the character are utterly superfluous to what's being said. You could be a drunk sleeping on the street, being a massive idiot, and suddenly that sense of self might go, you know, the human might go, oh, that sense of self is gone. I'll have another drink. Sebastian, I can't live with my ego anymore. It's so painful. Yeah, it's hell. It needs to stop. It is a prison. I do everything to kill the ego. No delay anymore. Well, the ego that seems to appearing, unbeknown to it, is life doing it. And it's no different from the wall or the floor. It's no different. It just can't be seen from that ego perspective. But I'm telling you, everything that is happening is life appearing, because what else could it be? Even if you can only intellectually understand it, what else could this be? Oh, pins and needles in my hands, I'm talking about it. I like the idiot part. Yeah, well, idiots are life appearing as idiots. There is no higher or lower here. There is no progress. No progress. This is not about progress. This is not about getting closer, because it is already here. Sunny, if this is it, then what is obstructing me to see it? Well, nothing's obstructing me. It's just suddenly seen. There's no obstruct to the me. The me is all these concepts and ideas about what freedom is and enlightenment is, and looking and seeking and everything. There's no obstruct for the me, because the me is not real. The me isn't the me is a figment. It's an illusory construct that thinks there are obstructions, that thinks there is something that has to happen to it to get somewhere. But what seems to happen, and I see this more and more, is that suddenly it's like, oh my God, it's just this. There's always, and then there's a possibility of it reappearing. But there could be that glimpse, and it happens. It happens quite easily sometimes. Alexandra, what do you think about the teachings that say that it is first helpful to recognize yourself as the peaceful awareness in which appears the body, mind, the world, before recognizing all there is? I was in that teaching, and what was happening was, I'm going to answer your question in this way. Before I came to what I thought was non-duality, it wasn't, I thought it was, because it was labeled non-duality. I didn't even know about non-duality. There was just this sense of self that was literally falling apart. All the pillars in the temple were just collapsing on their own. And then it was like, well, what's going on here? What's going on? I started looking, came across teachers of awareness first. I think, oh, maybe that's it. It sounds kind of familiar. It sounds kind of right. Because there were things they were saying, like there is no one, and there's only what they weren't saying there was only what is happening, but they were talking in that kind of way. And then they were trying to teach me awareness. And it was like, it was just impossible to get hold of, because it was just pointless. It's like, what's the point in awareness when there isn't anyone to be aware? Even though the me would come in and out, and there'd be all these light bulbs going on and off. The awareness was like, I do find the awareness teaching a bit of a carrot on a stick, actually. Always looking for this awareness and trying to stay in this awareness, and staying in this awareness is excruciating, because life doesn't appear like that. It's already the peace. This is the peace. What does Ella say? Ella says, this is the peace that passes all understanding. There is no peace in awareness, because there's a lot of wanting and trying, and it's still the me. It's the me trying to be peaceful awareness. It's still a me trying. But really, what is overlooked is that it already is everything. All that teaching of awareness is looking towards it being something, that there is something that I have to get. And if I am aware, I will get it. It's not like that. This is utterly like an explosion of life. And I can't say every moment because it's too immediate to be every moment even. It's not every moment. Is what is. Yes, it is what it is. It can't be anything else. It's just an idea that it's something else. This is the dilemma that the me has. It's looking for what is it? It's something I must understand. But that's a fantasy it lives in. Those teachings say that awareness provides somehow a safe and cool place. Yeah, maybe in the appearance. But if there's a seeking in that, there's just that perpetual seeking, and it can make the seeking worse. Feeling scared, I think people reject me. Yeah, well, the me thinks itself separate from other people. Here's me, and here's all the other me's, and they're rejecting me. I feel scared, I feel separate. Yeah. But I'll tell you something, there are no me's, Sebastian. There are no me's. There's just the appearance of people apparently rejecting you. I don't think they are, because I know you to be a lovely person. But the me can make up all sorts of stories in its head, and it can like really give someone a hard time. Sunny, oh my God, indeed. Feeling the spaciousness now, thank you. Oh yeah. Yeah, because it just strips away everything, doesn't it? Strips away all these fantasies we have about something going to happen. Ella, this appearance is freedom if there is no me. Yes. Yes, and then it's really obvious. Sorry, distracted by Joe's comments. Then it's really obvious that there was that even that sense of no freedom was life appearing as freedom, as no freedom. There's a kind of intelligence. It's a kind of intelligence there. I can't describe what I'm saying. Beyond understanding. Wow, tonight has flown. Ella, Lisa, do you still have any me thoughts? No, because the sense of me is actually an energetic sense rather than a thought. Me thoughts. I don't know what a me thought is. It's just thoughts. Sometimes about the life of Lisa. But the sense of me is an energetic sense. It's beyond thoughts. It includes thoughts. It uses thoughts. It attaches itself to thoughts. Alexandria, thanks for your answer about the awareness teaching. This is also what happens for me. Those teachings trigger a lot of seeking energy. Yeah. I was asking because those teachings seem to work for some people. They seem to work. They seem to appear to work. But there are no people. This is the thing. There is nobody becoming enlightened. It's the end of anybody becoming enlightened. So you see these people feeling, honestly, right? I went to see Muji years ago, right? I went to see Muji years ago, and it seems all these people so peaceful, so, like this, it's all the time. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. And you see them stand, there was this one guy, right? He was standing in the queue every day, and he was so, you see him in the hall, so peaceful, just giving off this vibe. every day he'd push in the queue, okay? And then one day he pushed in the queue and ran forward. He always needed to sit near the front. Grabbed this poor woman and threw her to one side and ran to the front of the hall and sat there and just looked all peaceful again. I wouldn't trust how people look or what they say, because nobody becomes freer. Nobody's freer. Everybody with a sense of self has a sense of self. There is no less sense of self, no more sense of self. There is just sense of self. Yeah. Oh, there's an idiot. But you know, you might push the woman over and suddenly go, boing, no self. What are your thoughts on Muji? Well, two things. In the story, it's just, in the story, I don't know why anybody would need to help people become free by being a guru. You can't help people become free. You can't help, there's nothing here that can help a person to become free. The person does not become free. Excuse me. On the other hand, life is appearing as Muji, being a guru. But I would not say that being a devout follower will do anything. I actually got oh, it's all coming out today, isn't it? I'll tell you, because it is kind of funny. When this started happening, I was with a teacher, and I really love this teacher. I mean, we did not fall out. We didn't fall out. But he got a letter from Muji telling him to get rid of me. Oh dear. Because I was saying something different. Yeah. He seems like a lovely man, except for the get rid of Lisa bit. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? There's no one free in there. There's no enlightened master in the body of Muji. There's no enlightened master in the body of anybody. Yeah, I know. I was blogging at the time, and I was writing about what was going on, you know, what was being revealed in a sense, just what was coming apparent. And I was writing about it, and yeah, the Muji lot wrote to, yeah, wrote to him and said, get rid of her. So that was the end of being a beloved sister. I was an outcast, an apostate. Major. So a thought can arise like, I need to wash the dishes, but that I is known not to be real, or something like that. Yeah, it's not even, yeah, only when it's thought about it's not to be real. But when the thought arises, I need to wash the dishes, and it's usually the thought is accompanied by, oh, I can't be bothered to wash the dishes. There is not even a thought of I. There is no one that, there's no recognition of a separate sense of self in that. There's just the thought arises. Or like, it's all automatic, you know, like when you're thirsty, you get up to have a drink of water. There's nobody sitting there going, well, who's saying this need to have a drink of water? That would be the sense of separation. That would be the me trying to analyze out of it. But the thought just arises, I'm thirsty. The thought might not even arise, the body just might get up and go to the tap. Tangerine, oh, that's funny about Muji. Why would he say that? It's a bit weird. Yeah, it's because I wrote it's because I wrote an essay on awareness and called it a carrot on a stick. But, you know, you got to say what you got to say. It just comes out. You know, it wasn't meant to be offensive. Hi, Max. Do other people exist, or is it all you? No, it's not all you. It's not all me, because there is no me. This me is not a me. There is just humans. There is just humans, and apparently some of them have a sense of separation. But that's not, I don't see that. I only see that if people tell me. There's just other humans. And human race is amazing, really. What amazing, so varied, beautiful, beautiful. Sunny, so you were outcast because you were waking up, whereas that was the objective in the first place. Train, yes. Well, they probably didn't think that. They probably just thought that I was full of rubbish and being contentious. I don't know what they thought. It just wasn't very welcome. That's okay. That's what happens, you see. That's what happens. If you're in a group, in a sangha or something like that, and there's a very specific way of being, and you have to have certain reverence and all this stuff, and that sense of self drops away, that reverence that I need to get something from the guru will also drop away, and you will most likely, I would say 99% of the time, not be welcome anymore. Yeah. Seems to happen. You know, because you've got to follow the pack, haven't you? You've got to follow the pack. Well, I guess that can happen when people try to uphold a certain image, public appearance. Yes. Yes. Yes, that can happen. Alexandra, when there is no sense of self, is there still memory of the apparent happenings? Yes. Yes, there is. Yeah, but they're nothing. They're nothing. They're just memories happening. Yeah. They're just another color on the palette of aliveness. Really. That's all they are. Everything is just another color on the painting of aliveness. And the question, Alexandra, and the question completely different. Do you think Muji is still taking himself for someone? I have no idea. I'd have no idea. If he doesn't, then it's very strange. Kissing his feet and all this crying and with just all this stuff. Oh my God, it's just a. Tony called it a circus, and I completely agree. Thoughts in a story in time. Because it doesn't support their construct. No. No, because this is complete freedom from feeling like a separate self and separate from the guru or the teacher and all that. That completely drops away. When that drops away, there is only then the teacher and the wall and the floor and the air, and none of them are separate. And the body, none of that is separate. When the separation drops away, there is nobody that is enlightened. Max, okay, I mean the others are not really others anymore. No, not really. They're others in the appearance. Yeah, there are people I love. Yeah, there are definitely others. But there's nobody, there's no separate person in there. They might feel like there is, but that's not a person. It's not a person. I mean, I really love my daughter. You know, there's that motherly love. You know, it gets almost written into your DNA. Sometimes when I'm like being like motherly, I'm like, oh, sorry, Stella, it's just my DNA. I can't help it. When I'm being, you know, giving her advice or something. It seems like there are others. There are other people. Yeah, there are other humans who we love or don't know or don't like or... Yeah, beautiful, says Sunny. Strange is beautiful, says Joe. This appearance, this aliveness, which is everything, is so beautiful. Even when it's horrible. Feeling it's horrible is beautiful. Because it's a mystery. The mystery of life. Claudia, perhaps what is essential is acceptance of the suffering, acceptance with the fact that suffering is happening. Then the me story drops. No, because acceptance would just be what's happening. And if there's a sense of accepting and it relieves the sense of suffering, then yes, it's like having a gluten allergy and giving up gluten. You know, helps with the suffering of the body. But the me story won't drop because of acceptance, because acceptance is still the aliveness appearing as acceptance. And it's still a me that might be still wanting something from acceptance. The best it can do is to feel a bit better. Kim, I found that Tony Parsons was the only one who could answer that sense. Answer that sense. Sorry, Kim, I don't understand what you mean, that sense. Gmail, please say in detail how you mean, even if it is horrible, it is still beautiful. Well, horrible things happen, right? Like animal cruelty, especially here in Spain. It's unbelievable it's like here in Spain. And there's horror happens about it. Horror. And a sense of wanting to help. Me and my neighbour rescued a dog recently. Kind of stole it. Anyway. Much happier now. And that horror can happen. But the thing is, the whole of the appearance is not seen in pieces. When the whole of appearance is obvious, there is a magnificence to it. The magnificence is the beauty. And what happens in the magnificence is all the colours in this appearance, all the forms, they're irrelevant to the magnificence of it. Because in that there is also it doesn't mean that when there is no sense of self, there is no longer horror at something which is appalling. But you have to see that that is also life appearing as horror. There's no one there to not want it to be there anymore. Its place, as the same as anything has its place. It all is in its place, and it's in utter free fall. It's totally in its place. It can't be any other way. It is utterly just what it is, and perfect. Even though within that there's the appearance of me feeling like it's not perfect, like animal cruelty and other cruelty, for example. Okay, I don't have long left. Alexandra, is there a possible explanation in words for the fact that it is the same aliveness that appears as objects like table, suffering, acceptance, the sky, and so on? No, there's no explanation. Just magnificence, wonder, aliveness, mystery. There's no explanation. Like, the closest I can say to it is there is sense of an intelligence, but not an intelligence which is separate. It's impossible to say. There's no life or death in it. There's no time in it. There's nothing in it which can be spoken of. Who else do you consider as legit awake beings? It's such an irony. It's such an irony. There are no awakened beings. There are bodies that appear to be speaking about this and saying there is no me. There are certain speakers, I would say. I can't say that there are awakened beings. There's just no awakened beings. I mean, that's just gone. There are speakers who speak, and if I listen to them, they'll be like, yeah. I can't really say. I mean, I don't know. I don't really like to talk about other speakers because some of them are my friends. So I think also you can also have your own discernment to what the sense of rightness is when it's spoken of. Is that what you can discern? Is there something in it for me to get and progress towards? Or is it free of that? Is it just pointing to the freedom that is? And there's a certain energy that goes with that. Because anyone can spout these words. Anyone can spout these words, but not for long. If they're doing it from a sense of getting something for themselves. But you can discern it. But not in concepts about what's right and wrong. There's a kind of a sense to it. Lisa, when we understand intellectually that ego isn't our true nature, but it's still present, what should we do next to get closer to, oh my God, that's it? You can't because you're already intimately involved with it. You can't get closer to what is already so intimately involved in itself. That's why you can't get closer to it, because it's just all here. It's just here. How can you get closer to here? It's impossible. It just happens or it doesn't. But it can't get closer. It just can't happen. Gmail, no, that is not enough. Magnificence is not enough to accept the horror. I'm not saying to accept the horror. I don't accept the horror. I'm not saying that at all. There should be something else that makes you say beautiful. Yes, I can't explain that. I can't explain it. It's not in terms of different things. It's not in terms of this is good, this is bad. This is not about morality. I'm not saying accept bad things and think it's beautiful, because that's just psychopathic. That's a mental problem, accepting horror. It's mad. You know, if there's no reaction to the horror in the world, then I would say that is not very healthy. I can't explain. Because it's not in terms of things. A flower is beautiful and this is not beautiful, or the flower is more beautiful than the glass, or the glass is more beautiful than the flower. Sometimes I'm amazed by water. It's amazing. But it's not in the things. It's not in the separate things. I can't explain what it is. It's just either sensed what I'm saying or it's not. Alexandra, is the oneness felt after the collapse of self, or is there no one to feel it? Yeah, the last part is right. There is no one to feel it. No one feels it. There is no at last, like at last. At last, I feel oneness. It's not like that. There is only everything, which has no discernible quality to it. There isn't any quality to it. It's nothing, but that's because nothing can be said about it. Boris. I like Tony Parsons, Andreas Muller, and Jim Newman. Their expression resembles Lisa's. Yeah, they're good speakers. GML, but you should explain. Do it. I have been doing for the past hour and 10 minutes. Explain it on any level. Okay. You know I'm not going to be able to, don't you? I already have by saying it's not in the appearance. I'm not talking about the individual appearances. The feeling of joy, horror, fear, everything is part of the whole life that is just bursting out. Really bursting out, no matter what it is. I don't think it's beautiful or feel it's beautiful. It's not something that is personal here that feels this is beautiful. It just is utterly astonishing that it appears at all. I mean, the me thinks that this has just all come from the past and it's really boring now. It's like, oh gosh, it's just a wall, oh, it's just a desk. It's just this, it's just that. The self is utterly jaded. It's completely jaded because it's looking for something that isn't here, and here is never good enough. Never. I think I digress there. I can't explain it more than I have. Just to say that it's not in the separate appearances. Say the whole of life is a painting, okay? It's all a painting, and here you have what the human thinks is beautiful things: flowers, children, animals, beloved people, mountains, whatever. Like, oh, you know, health. And then there's like, over here, there's pictures of war and death, and there's pictures of cruelty. All that whole one painting is made of the same paint. And that whole painting is constantly moving and changing all the time, all the time. The paint itself has utterly no morality to it. None at all. It doesn't care what shapes and forms it moves the paint into. The shapes of the paint are irrelevant. It's the fact that it's a painting and it is utterly changing form and it's alive. And in that painting, there might be a beautiful human being struck with horror at somebody being hit by another person. And that is also made of the same paint. It's all the same paint. It's all the same aliveness, whatever it is. And that's the astonishment. It's the astonishment that the painting is even there. Just that in itself is an astonishment. But you won't be able to see it when you're looking at the different parts of the paint and not seeing and just thinking that paint is real and really happening there. And it's separate from all this. It's the one thing, including the horror, the pain. When someone feels pain and compassion towards another living being, that's not the me that feels that compassion and pain. The me claims it as being my compassion, my pain. Hi Lee, thanks. Yeah, it doesn't really cool down until about 10 o'clock. And it doesn't cool down in the house because the house is like an oven. It's like a clay oven. It's being heated up and heated up and heated up. Okay, I've got 5 minutes left because I haven't actually eaten yet today. Well, not for a long time. Sebastian, what do you think about allowing or accepting as a practice? I said earlier about that. It doesn't do anything. It's just allowing happening as a practice to go towards something. And it's overlooked that the allowing and the acceptance is just a part of the picture. the appearance of this life. Alexandria, it seems like it is more zeroness than oneness. Both. Both. It's nothing and everything. Okay, I'm going to go through these really quickly, and hopefully someone will say, see you later soon, because then I can go. Because I do love this as well, but I'm getting tired now. Beautiful metaphor of the painting. Oh, thank you, Boris. Yeah, I'm trying to make a metaphor for GML. Not easy. Cling film. Jerome. Hi, Jerome. What seems to be obstructing is that I take my thoughts too seriously. Yeah, but you know, that is liveness appearing as taking your thoughts too seriously. It seems like an obstruct, but what is obvious, that it's just, that's just it. It's part of that painting I was talking about. Sonny sitting there taking his thoughts too seriously. It's just paint appearing as that. Thanks, Ramona. Oh, let's see if I can whip through these. What if you think of the painting as the universe, but that you wonder of that the universe is a part of? Now you have to imagine, this is a metaphor, remember, this is a metaphor, that the painting is all there is. There isn't anything outside of it. And I don't know anything about the universe. Only what NASA tells us. If you can believe NASA. Sunny. Yeah, that's good. Because it can be relaxing. It can be relaxing. Tangerine, thank you for being so wonderful. Thank you. I'll be in Nurture for a couple of days in September. It'd be great to meet for a coffee. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I am here for the whole of September. My daughter's visiting. Thanks, Sunny. But GML will not understand you. No, he won't. He certainly won't. Kurt, so aliveness is pretending to be separate from itself. Yes! And then starts seeking itself in a dream of separation. Yes! Yes. Yes, definitely. Beautiful, he says. It is. That's the beauty. Oh, thank you, Boris. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everybody else. It's been a beautiful meeting with you guys. And I always love it. Thank you for joining me. And lots of love. And hopefully see you all next week. Okay, bye.